I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Peggy. I am the PA for our transgender program. So we are doing your pre-op today, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So has Nikki emailed you the they call it the Journey to Surgery and Beyond, the email, the paperwork that I would have handed you in person?
No, I didn't get that. Hello everyone, my name is Amelia and welcome back to another one of my videos. So this is going to be a very important video today. I'm actually going to be going over my pre-op appointment I had for my surgery coming up in 4 days and 19 hours, which is this Tuesday. My pre-op was on the 7th, which was roughly about a week and a half ago, so yeah, I feel kind of terrible that I wasn't able to get into this video sooner. But I did decide that it was very much important that I got this video done just to help document this journey. I really can't say how long this video is going to be, but I am going to try summarizing it. And I also just realized that I completely fumbled on my opening, because isn't it Hello World? I'm horrible. Anyways, so I'm going to be covering each thing here on this sheet. As you can saw from my opening, I did sit down and I talked with Margaret Tuttle. She is the nurse that handles the pre-op and the post-op for the patients right around surgery. So I got Dr. Gray, Dr. Broghammer, and Dr. Panruru, who are going to actually be doing the surgery. She's involved with the actual removing of the packing, removing of my catheter, and making sure that everything is going good. So I'm going to start out. Pretty much everything we covered. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff that we talked about outside of the pre-op sheet that I had received from them. There's also some very interesting story around what had happened around that day. Very fascinating indeed. So I'm pretty much going to just go over the sheet here. There's, again, not a whole lot else we talked about. I don't know, we had a conversation about, it's interesting sometimes when I talk to some people, like my doctor, and we have some, just in general, weird conversations. First thing we discussed was just some general questions. I do know that the first thing that I had asked of her was, we talked about the hospital stay. I did get clarification that this hospital stay is 2 nights and 3 days. I did tell her that it seemed like I was getting a lot of different answers on that. Nobody seemed to know for sure. I had people inside the circle saying 2 days, 5 days, 7 days, people outside the circle being 2 weeks. Point is, KU Med is definitely very unique on how they handle this process compared to most, I would say probably a good 90% of the surgeons out there that do this surgery. They basically said that they are not going to send me home until I'm manageable on ibuprofen. We also discussed preparedness for going into the hospital. They were talking about the things that I should bring. There was basically, bring a loose pair of fitting clothes, because she was telling me that she's like, we've actually had to give some of our gals trouble with the fact that they show up to have surgery and then they expect to leave in cute little leggings. I could definitely understand why those gals thought that that was a good idea, but at the same time, they did not also think of the fact that they had a catheter in when they left. Definitely something to take into consideration if any of you out there are considering getting GCS. So they also told me make sure I bring some stuff to read. I'm going to bring a laptop. I'm going to try to bring my camera with me, because I would very much like to try to, even if I look like a nightmare recording them, I want to have my phone, my camera, chargers, just some general things. Obviously a pair of clothes to wear on my way home. So then after that, the next thing that we had talked about was what my post-op care was going to look like. And that's where this pre-op post-op sheet came into the mix. One of the things that we had talked about, so as you can see here, there's just some bullet points here on the sheet. So the sheet talks about how they actually, because I also kind of feel like a lot of times that people that have this surgery, they seem to just be like, oh, well, this is how it is, this is how we do it, there's no deviating from that. But strange enough, it seems like KU Med actually has some fluctuating over, kind of changing the experience for each patient. Because it even says right here on the dilation instructions, which of course this is what's going to happen come the week after the surgery when I have my packing and my catheter removed. It says here that the largest dilator that I feel comfortable with, which is interesting because usually I've seen them be like, oh, we use the smaller one, the medium, then we go with the bigger one. And Margaret mentioned to me is that they've had a couple girls that are like, oh, no, I do not feel comfortable using that big, massive dilator. And she's like, okay, we're not going to use it then. And I like that. That does seem to be a really nice approach to how to handle the surgery. Then there's just instructions here, like it says, okay, you insert into the vagina, check to make sure, before you do it, make sure the dilator is clean. You're going to clean the dilator with soap, dish soap, rinse well, dry with a towel or cloth. Apply Astrogel or Surgilube, don't know what that is. You can also do KY jelly, it's all water-based. They use that for the dilating. You're going to insert it at a 45-degree angle downward and then down past the pelvic bone and insert straight up. It says you can expect to feel a small amount of resistance and tenderness. If it is too much resistance or severe pain, you need to stop and use the smaller dilator. Again, using the one that you are most comfortable with. It says you're going to insert it into the full depth and wait until you should have about a moderate amount of pressure and resistance. Wait 20 minutes. About 3 inches of the dilator should remain outside. So here's the dilation schedule, which I thought was really interesting, which was really good to know. It is actually a pretty frequent dilation schedule, which I don't know if it's because I can't quite remember what some of the other dilation schedules were that I saw. So anyways, for the first 3 weeks, you got to dilate for 4 times a day, which is around 8 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. Now, I'm going to be on leave from my job. I'm going to basically be at home for 6 to 8 weeks. So that would mean about half of that is going to be spent with the 4 times a day. Then for the next 3 weeks, you're going to go to 3 times a day. And then 3 more weeks, you'll go to 2 times a day. Then 3 more weeks, once per day. And then you're going to dilate or have sex for a minimum of once a week for the rest of your life. So that's pretty expected. I'm glad that there's a clear timeline up to dilating once per week, which I've heard is pretty common. And then the 2 times per day per week, that's roughly going to be when I finally get back to going to work. It'll be sometime within there. So I would be dilating before work and after work, basically. And then eventually being able to go to normal dilations within, I don't know, what is that, 6, 12, so about 3 months from surgery. And then it says here, if the vagina becomes tight, you need to increase your dilation schedule. And then you also need to douche every other day, 2 months following surgery, and then once or twice per week. Now, I'm probably also going over some things that are probably more so important after my surgery, but I figure it would be easier that I'm going over these things now in this video, just so I'm not having to go over them necessarily. I might mention them later, but this is just a much more direct video of what the expectations are. I will mention, this was an interesting one, so this kind of goes into what happened. I expressed some concern to Margaret regarding my hair removal. So, because what had happened is, because due to COVID, my original surgery was canceled. I was supposed to get an exam done by the surgeons on my consults with them. Unfortunately, because of COVID, those consults were switched to telehealth, which means that they couldn't do the exam. They didn't seem too concerned about it. They just asked me what I had done. I said I did a year of laser, and they were like, oh, that's probably good enough. And I was just really concerned about it because I kind of had a hard time believing that was good enough, because I sometimes look down, I'm like, oh, I feel like there's too much down there still. I didn't really feel like it was adequate, but that wasn't my place to say. So I had expressed that to Margaret, and Margaret was like, you know what? Because we want you to go into the surgery feeling as comfortable as possible, because two things we discussed was my weight and the hair removal. I had told them, because I had been told by Dr. Gray back in November that I had to get myself under 210 pounds. The lowest I have hit in the last month is 206, but I have been really fluctuating around that 210 number. Some days it's 209, 210, 211. And it was frustrating me because I was very much afraid that I'm almost pulling at the lottery here. I almost felt like I'm going to go walking into the doctor's office and they're going to be like, oh, you're 211. Okay, sorry, go home. We can't do surgery now. That was me, because I'm a very goody two-shoes. I like to do things by the book. So that was something that was definitely freaking me out to quite a significant degree. She did reassure me as far as weight goes that she didn't think that was going to be an issue if I was kind of fluctuating around the weight I had been told to be. She said, now I definitely wouldn't come in being 215 or 220, but she said, you're probably going to be fine. She said, we don't even really check unless it's, absolutely necessary. The other thing was the hair removal. So she had told me, she was like, you know what, because we want you to go into the surgery feeling safe and confident and ready to go for this. She said, if you can come in here right now, come into the office, we will take a look. Originally, they were going to have me come in later that afternoon, but then after some other things that had happened, I came in sooner. Dr. Gray specifically got a hold of me, and that was a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, it's Dr. Gray.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm alright. I haven't seen you with a face mask on yet, so...
What'd you say?
I haven't seen you with a face mask on before, so...
Oh, yeah, well...
So I was like, wait, who's this? Oh, right, that's her.
Yes, it's Dr. Gray. So much has changed since I saw you last.
Should reiterate, I'm not really necessarily talking that... I guess what I'm asking for, because I remember voicing it to Dr. Punruru also, I just want to know that there's going to be attention to detail. You know what I mean? Because yes, especially with COVID and everything like that, I'm almost afraid that, and I'm not saying this is true, I'm just saying that I personally almost feel like there might be some rush to be like, okay, get them in and out so we can catch up.
I see.
I'm afraid of this being the bad time for this. You know what I mean? Also,
I don't think it's a bad time. I don't think any of us feel rushed or the need to catch up. Personally, I don't feel that way at all. What we all kind of had concerns about was that sometimes even when, it's just you can drive to work every day and it goes perfectly. And then one day you are doing everything right and you have a car accident, so there are sometimes things that happen in surgery that, for example, like a rectal injury or a bladder injury or something that the outcome is not as desired. I think ultimately, aesthetically, it will be as we want, but I don't want to put you in a situation where we completely throw you into an anxiety ball and make you worse off.
Dr. Gray expressed some very good concerns. She had some good concerns about, because I do have to say, I have to really respect the fact that I hadn't seen Dr. Gray face to face, well, this time over telehealth, since November. So the fact that she was actually so concerned for my feelings about the whole thing was really great. And it showed, like people have said about KU Med, is that they really do care. They have a care for their patients. It's very unique and very different.
And in your opinion, how has the hair removal gone?
Probably not as well as I was expecting, but it seems like it's probably acceptable. Okay. I personally feel like it's probably on the low end of acceptable.
Okay, I think that's okay.
If you guys are confident in being like, you know what, even if it was a little bit, outside of the norm, we're not too worried, you know?
Exactly. And I think that is the case because I'm going to do intraoperative surgical hair removal. What's the earliest you can get here?
I went into the appointment and they had me, I ended up waiting like almost an hour and a half there in the waiting room. When they finally got me in the room, they told me to take my pants off. I sat there, and this was very interesting because it was my first time ever in my life in stirrups. And it was funny because I even made a comment to Dr. Gray after she came in about, this is my first time in the stirrups, and she was like, well, honey, get used to it because this is what it's going to be like from now on. I was like, okay. It's kind of like an initiation process of some sort when you really think about it. So she did an examination and she told me that she thought the hair removal was just fine. I had a little bit of more conversation with Judy Gay and Dr. Gray about the surgery. I also finally had a friend or someone I met, a friend, I guess you can say, who she went to KU Med 4 months ago and had her surgery. She actually sent me some photos of her post-op, which I didn't think was horrible. I mean, I could see where it wasn't perfect, but it still was kind of early in her healing process. And I went ahead and I asked Dr. Gray if I could show her the pictures, and I was able to getting some feedback. And it was very beneficial to be able to talk to her, show her, and she's like, well, yeah, this is this and this, and have things actually described. It was a whole world of difference.
Well, I think this is the bottom line for us, for me, is that I wouldn't offer the surgery. I wouldn't do the surgery if I didn't think we could do it as well as any other place in the country. I think I don't have any concerns about thinking that you would have a better experience elsewhere. I don't think that you would. But what I want to make sure that you're comfortable with is that, you know, you're putting your trust in us, and I don't want you to wake up and be like, I wish I had gone elsewhere. Because if that's the case, then you should go elsewhere. Like, if you're not feeling 100% confident in us the way we feel about you, that makes me concerned, because I want you to be happy.
So we ended up talking a little bit more. That's when Judy went over this. This is actually where I got this printout. So something that I'm actually, to be honest, I am a little bit surprised about is that they do have a douching routine. I never actually expected there to be any kind of douching, but this is going to be a new experience for me. So that is, they want you to do it every other day following surgery, and then of course it's going to be something that will be ideally weekly, along with dilating. Of course, I'm not really sure how I feel about that because that's not something I've heard before. So it was kind of funny because she told me, she says, okay, well, we're going to give you the douching syringe the day that you come in to have your packing removed. Well, it was funny because she went ahead and handed it to me. She reached up in the cabinet and she said, here, let me go ahead and give it to you just so you don't forget, or I don't forget. And this is kind of funny because I actually had this in my car and I brought it home, and it was funny. I got home and right away my roommate was like, why do you have a douching syringe? And I'm like, why do you think? So I haven't opened it just because I've never seen one of these in my life, but I thought right here on camera it would be kind of interesting to go over what this looks like for my own initial reaction. I do have to say I find it very funny that it's just you can definitely tell it's a Chinese douching syringe, just kind of whatever, because right on the backside is what looks like it looks like they picked these up off of Amazon. Like literally, that looks like an Amazon label. I'm not going to show you the bottom. Apparently, the bottom looks like it actually has an anatomically correct diagram. So we'll have to see how that goes. So I'm going to go ahead and open this on camera. Okay, so there's some papers in here. Apparently, they give you a bag, kind of a rubber bag. That's interesting. Ooh, smell the plastic. It's definitely Chinese. Then they give you some papers here. Ooh, hi. Oh, it comes with a 1-year limited warranty. Can't forget that. There's a diagram on how to fill and put it together. And I don't know what this is. This is so weird. I can't even describe what this is. It looks like it's some sort of test. So there is that. Okay, so let's see here. It's a cute pink bottle. So it has a straw. And then this top on it. Alright, let's see here. It's like a very soft plastic bottle. And then that's the spray tip, which is more of a not so soft. Okay, and it screws out. Okay, so it looks like you fill this bottle, which, so normally, as I understand it, douching, there's usually like special vaginal cleaners you can get at the store. They just told me baby shampoo and water is more than enough. Okay, so there's a straw. Let me see. How does this work? Okay, so the straw goes in there. This insert's in there, right? Or does it go like this? Ah, there it is. So that goes there, and then this is the flange. Okay. This is, to be honest, a kind of scary device. And makes me really, I'm sorry if I'm hesitant right now. It's just really interesting to think what this is for. This, you can probably understand how I feel right now. So anyways, I am just gonna go ahead and drop that bottle there. We'll put the instructions back. So there, you got to see what the douching bottle looks like. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, but curiosity well received, I guess. So let me go back to my conversation with Margaret Tuttle. So this is basically where, because we had the dilation instructions, this is basically where she had taken over. So I like how it really, so this is called The Journey to Surgery and Back Home. I like how it says right here in the beginning, it says, so you've done all the hard work. Yeah, that's true. Like the consult back in November, and then getting my letters, and then waiting, and then canceling, and all that. I am definitely, wow, never thought of how much work has gone into this so far. But it's almost over. It's almost there. Well, at least the beginning of the end is there. So you have your pre-op appointments with Dr. Gray, Brockhammer, Panruru, which have all been handled. What do you do now? First, breathe, and let's get ready for your hospital stay and back home. After surgery, you will be in the hospital for approximately 3 to 5 days. You will have amazing stuff to take care of, staff to take care of you, which is interesting. She did actually tell me, she says, they specifically picked the place that they do your surgery and they have you recover, which, as I understand from this other girl that I met, is actually the women's surgical wing of KU Med, which she has said has actually makes you feel just like one of the girls there, which is really nice. And then it says, here's a few things you may want to bring from home. So the first thing that she said is it's not a bad idea to bring a pillow or a throw blanket, which, excellent thing to do. I got plenty of pillows and throw blankets. I've heard, because she did mention something you'll find out very quickly, is that the hospital beds are not comfortable. And I'm sure anybody who's watching this video who has had surgery done in a hospital before can probably understand what a lot of these things are that I'm going to be talking about, or I haven't even experienced yet. But she did tell me that the beds are not comfortable. Apparently they're noisy at night. They're very difficult to get adjusted to when you're trying to recover. So she said that. She said something to entertain you, which you can only watch so much TV, which I assume there's probably a TV in the room. You may want to bring a book or a computer, something to keep you occupied, which I will definitely do that. I have my laptop. I'm hopefully, just so I'll put this out there, I've been trying to write a book for a long time. And hopefully I am going to actually be able to write in my book. They also suggest bringing a robe, which I don't own a robe, and I'm not about ready to spend $60 on a good quality robe. So it's probably going to be the only thing I'm really not going to be able to bring myself. They suggest slippers, your favorite toiletries. They said a lot of the things are at the hospital. She did actually tell me that almost every possible thing on this list, she actually told me, she said, you could show up at the door completely with nothing. And she says, there is stuff there. We can find you things. But she's like, the toothbrushes are terrible. The toothpaste tastes terrible. So yeah, just some of the little things that I need to make sure I pack. And something loose and comfortable to wear home, which I did mention that. She was talking about, they have to give some of their girls a hard time when they come in and they're like expecting to go home in these tight leggings, and then here they are trying to put their catheter down the legging pant, and they're all like, ooh, so that I can totally understand, because I've done a lot of pre-research. Okay, so that's the deal with in the hospital. So then the next thing is what to stock up on for surgery afterwards. Now, technically, I did already go over this in a video, so I'm not really going to focus on this too much. I'll just briefly go over it. One is the maxi pads. We already went over that. They do say no strong scents. They said get a donut. You will receive a donut pillow at the hospital. However, many of their people find that the neck pillows are more comfortable. I'm probably not going to be able to do that just because of time restraints. It's the weekend now. Oh yeah, all of that fun stuff. Next, you're going to want some lubrication for your dilating. No dyes, no scents. They want it to be water-based, which we already went over that. Next up, we have the douching. You will receive blah, 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 so I'm not going to go back into this. It says after your 2-week post-op appointment, so I don't know. Well, I guess that's just something I'm going to probably find more out as I get there. And then it says, oh yeah, and then like I mentioned, they don't want to send you home until you're manageable on ibuprofen. They don't want the Oxycontin, I think she said is what they use. They do not want to send you home on that stuff. The other thing that we did talk about is she said that we're going to stop your hormones. So they do not want you on hormones 2 weeks prior to surgery. Now, I'm on injections, which did make for more of an interesting injection schedule. So I had told her, because on the 7th, it was literally the day prior, the next day after that I was due to do my next injection. It was a week prior to that, because I'm on weekly injections. So I had asked her what her opinions were of that, because I told her, I said, I really do not want to be turning into a raging bitch, having estrogen withdrawal. And she did tell me, she said, if you want to go ahead and do your weekly injection today, but she said, don't do it next week. She said, I think we would be okay with that, because by the time you go into surgery, the estrogen will be out of your system. I'm really glad that she did do that. So I was able to go ahead and do that injection on that day. It's been since Tuesday now. It's 3 days past when I should have had my injection for surgery on Tuesday. They also tell you after surgery, you're going to stop spirolactone, which I haven't been taking spirolactone since late last year, which was because I got very easily into a monotherapy routine. And it said you may experience some moodiness while off of your hormones. That is actually something I want to address real quick. Speaking of which, I did not get that phone call from someone I was expecting. I've been dealing with anxiety, really bad anxiety. My doctor put me on anti-anxiety medication last year. It was working for about a couple months, but then I felt like very quickly it stopped working for me. I think my body adjusted to it. I went to my doctor yesterday. I made an emergency appointment and just was like, look, I think you need to change up my anxiety medication. It doesn't seem to be working anymore. So she completely switched brands, and I took it, and it's kind of interesting because I do actually feel better. I mean, there's still like a little residual bit of anxiety that if I really was to focus on it, it would cause me trouble. But surprisingly, like even right now, I do have to say that I think it's making me better. Because I have to say, like right now, it's kind of weird because in the back of my head, I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, the surgery is happening. Oh my gosh, I should be freaking out. But then every time I just kind of think about it, it's just kind of like, this is kind of my thought pattern. Huh. That's how I feel. I literally feel like I'm just kind of like, huh. So that's how you will generally feel. I've never felt this in my life, to feel so mellow about such a major surgery coming up. I probably should be like freaking out right now, and I'm not. So on the next section here, it says, while you're at home, have somebody with you. You will not be feeling well your first several days, and so you will need someone to help. Generally, patients that do not have help do not do as well post-op. I'm not really going to talk about that right now. I am very much working towards having help, but I generally can't speak on what kind of help I'm going to have at home until closer to, probably not even until I'm getting to the point I'm going to be coming home. Next up, they say rest is essential. Rest is very important. It says here, even if you are feeling great, know your limitations. This is not the time to deep clean your house or go to the Grand Canyon. You will be bruised and swollen. Take this time for yourself. You will have to move around. However, don't go mountain climbing. I actually found that one very interesting. It also says driving. Do not drive until after your first post-op appointment. At this appointment, we will talk about your limitations, which, by the way, that was something that it was kind of funny. Margaret Tuttle told me that more than likely you won't be driving for actually even a little bit longer than that, maybe until your second post-op appointment. She said, she's like, I have this whole list of prerequisites that you need to pass before I really clear you for driving. It was really funny. We had this whole joke where she was like, I told her, I was like, you're kind of like the maker, and you are like telling me what I can and can't do with my newfound femininity. And she basically made the joke, she's like, yeah, your vagina belongs to me. And I'm like, oh, that is kind of creepy. And then she's like, no, really, it is yours, but I'm just helping you make it into the best it can be. So she said you can't go driving until, basically. Next up, they talk about the nutrition. They say while you're in the hospital, they will slowly advance your diet, which sounds like probably they're going to be lighter on the food in the beginning, and then it will get better. But it says once you get home, a bag of chips does not equal dinner. Try to eat nutritious foods while you help you heal. Don't forget the pain medication can be constipating, so please eat extra fiber. I can't really say. I am trying to be better prepared for my food schedule when I get home. I plan on possibly going shopping this Sunday or Monday. If money is available, that's going to be very important for me because I don't know what I'm going to do otherwise if I can't have food available to me. I'm trying to scrape up something for like keeping some apples and bananas and nutritious foods available to me because I'm not really going to be able to cook full-on meals. I already am somebody who eats generally better than the mass population, but we'll just have to see how that goes. It says no alcohol no alcohol while on pain medication, period. No smoking, and do not start back smoking. So I'm not a smoker. We don't have to worry about that. Bathing. You may shower. Do not use products with scents or dyes in your vaginal area. No tub bath until you have been cleared by your doctor. So that's another thing where it's kind of like the driving. They're going to tell me what I can do. I would assume the showering will be something I'll be more than able of doing after that first week. Which, that will be interesting. It's kind of like the swimming, you know, it's going to be kind of like one of the very first things I look forward to. That's going to be weird. Anyways, things to expect. So that's the next H1 header here. Swelling. Swelling is normal and will gradually decrease over time. It says if you have increased swelling, think about what you have done that day, which I can understand that. You may need to decrease your activity. If swelling increases, let them know. So she told me majority of the swelling will go down within the first 2 weeks. Discharge. As you heal, you'll have drainage from your vagina and incision sites. The drainage can be clear to yellowish. Things to remember. So she was being very, very adamant about. She said, generally, you do not need to tell us everything going on. But she said at the same time, do not tell us nothing. She said, here are the things that basically I need to get a hold of them, even if I have to leave a voicemail or just get a hold of them just so they are aware. Especially if they become increasing. So like she says, if you get a fever, the first question is, did you have a fever before? Is there an increase of soreness or firmness of the area? Like, for example, has the swelling gotten soft, but then is getting hard again? Discoloration, swelling, an odor. So like she was saying, did you not have an odor before and now you do? Unusual drainage from the area. She said these are all things you need to let us know. Okay, so it says pain with sitting. You may have pain while sitting. Please use the neck pillow as suggested. Do not wear tight clothing. So I did go to the thrift store on my way home that day, and I just bought like a bunch of super loose fitting sleep clothes. I'm not really too concerned with modesty, other than maybe videos or something like that, or pictures. I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. I do have plenty of loose fitting clothes, but I do very much look forward to those tight fitting clothes. Dilation. No one was a champion dilator their first time. There was some interesting discussions we had about dilation, but we are not going to get into that right now. Oh yeah, and something Margaret Towell was talking about was the maxi pad. She was like, just something to remember is that you will have discharge, but it's not going to be volume like a cisgendered woman's period. So again, I did mention this before in my last video. It's going to be kind of validating to be wearing pads to catch my discharge, but then at the same time, kind of a disappointment that eventually it's going to come to an end. And I'm never going to have a period ever again. So, it is important to take your time and advance your body directs. Make sure you use the adequate amounts. I do not know why they abbreviate the word amount of lubrication. Stick to the dilation schedule. You may have an area below your vaginal opening that will become red and painful. If this happens, please see us. Okay, so sexual intercourse. This is a very good question, a very good one that needs to be covered. While you may be the last thing on your mind at this point, you may decide differently later. Actually, to be honest, it is not the last thing on my mind. It is one of the very first things on my mind, and I'm not going to get into my experience with that. It is not safe to have intercourse until after your 2-month check. That was generally what I have heard is you want to wait at least 2 months. If not, wait until 6 months, because a lot of people were telling me that 2 to 6 month window, while it may be safe to have it, you generally should not, just to be on the safe side. At that time, the doctor will let you know if it is safe. Because she told a story, she's like, we've had a couple girls come in here and they're like, okay, yeah, I think you can start having sex, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I've already been having sex. And like several times a day. And it's like, okay. So then next is hygiene, she said, and then she made the point that you need to be wiping differently. She said, we like to point it out. She's like, your mother never taught you to wipe front to back, but now you need to do it. So then it basically says here, if you have problems, you can call our normal phone number before 4 p.m. At this number, or they do have an emergency after hours if there's a problem outside, which I think is really nice that they actually give that contact information. So that is that sheet, and this video has gone about almost 40 minutes of me just going over that sheet. Let's hope that was very She did tell me that anesthesia was going to get a hold of me, which was kind of funny because they did actually get a hold of me while I was in my telehealth appointment. So I do have a whole conversation I had with them. And then after anesthesia got a hold of me, I had to make a COVID appointment. So I think I'm just going to close out this video going over what anesthesia talked to me about, which it was nice. I had a really nice long conversation with that person. She was very, very nice. She also answered the questions about what I'm going to expect, because she actually works over at the hospital versus the people I was talking to don't. And it was very interesting to get some nice, more direct information. So I'm gonna close out this video with that information. All right, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Okay. All right. So let's start by, can you just verify your date of birth for me? Okay. And I have your emergency contact.
Let me see if I want to keep that as my emergency contact. I guess it's fine to keep that. I can't imagine her not, well, whatever. It's fine. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so just some brief history on you. So do you have any heart history or ever see cardiology for any reason?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. Alrighty. So really the only thing that I show as far as any diagnoses for you, it's just let's see, it says anxiety, depression, gender dysphoria, and a food allergy.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Yeah, that should be the only things.
Okay. All right. Have you had surgery before?
No, this would be my first time, so you can imagine that's triggering my anxiety right there.
Sure. Yeah. That's understandable. Everybody's nervous about the first time they get anesthesia. All right. Have you had any falls in the last year?
Falls?
Falls, yeah, like fall of an injury.
Fall of I mean, describe, like, you mean I just fell over, or I actually tripped?
Just like any kind of a fall. So, like, it's a fall risk question that we have to ask everybody, and it's, more pertinent to the people that have weakness or...
Oh, okay. Well, see, I'm just trying to find, are we talking, did I get in an accident, or did I just fall unexpectedly?
Any vitamin supplements, anything?
I am taking vitamins. I take, it's not really so much vitamins as it is just nutrient. I know, like, it's one of the, I got this subscription to a vitamin, like, thing where I basically every month I fill out a questionnaire, and then they customize basically a vitamin regimen for me.
Sure.
So I can't exactly name everything that's in the vitamins because I didn't really pay super close attention to it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say you'll need to hold off on those. If you wanted to just get like an inexpensive probiotic by itself, at a store somewhere, you could take that if you want. You just at least want something out of that pack that's going to help your gut, you could do that.
Okay.
But the rest of the stuff needs to be, the magnesium is okay to take. But the magnesium and the probiotic is the only thing that you would be allowed
Would it be
to
good? Would it be good to take an iron?
Really, you know, have you had your labs checked to see like where your levels are at? Like where your magnesium level is, where your iron level is.
I've never actually had like a vitamin panel done.
Yeah. So
I don't exactly know where they run. I do know that I was taking, so I was taking iron, and then I stopped taking it when I switched to this new regimen. But I was taking the iron pills, and because I went in to try to donate blood, and they tested my blood, and while taking them, I was like right in the like optimal level for iron levels when they tested just the iron levels.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know if you would like to see good iron levels for surgery, you know, since iron can have a lot to do with
yeah, definitely. You know, but just a basic blood draw, a basic metabolic panel tells us where your sodium's at, where your potassium's at, where your chloride is at, your calcium.
I mean, I've had one done about 3 months ago, but you know, everything was mostly normal. But
oh, did they do blood work?
Oh yeah, because I get blood work done about every 6 months because because my doctor wants to make sure that my body isn't getting out of whack anywhere because I'm actually on medications and stuff like that. It's actually really funny. I had somebody said something to me, and it really hit it. I don't know why it hit me so well, because I've talked to women who have gone through pregnancies, and they have given me this one, I should almost say I said it, and then they realized how right I was. I said, the best way that I have been able to think about this surgery is it's like I'm pregnant. Literally, my surgery date is my delivery date. It's scary. I can't run away from it. It has to happen. It has to happen. Yeah. But it's a necessary evil. Yeah, the post part is scary. But I mean, if you were a pregnant woman gonna be going through a delivery, that is scary. But you can't run away. It's gotta happen. Yeah. It's not even like and what makes it even better, a better explanation, is the fact that being pregnant is a good thing. It's not an illness. You're not having to go into surgery, like, especially if you're going in for a scheduled C-section. You're not going in for something to fix something. You're going in for something beautiful. You're going in to have something put in your arms, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of sad that I'll never experience that, but, you know. Yeah. I don't know. I guess you could almost say this is my pregnancy.
Let's see here. So I'll just wrap things up with you, Amelia. I'm going to go over your instructions briefly, and I don't expect you to write any of this down, because I can put a copy of all of this into your mind chart, or I can email it to you.
Okay.
So whichever you prefer.
Email will be fine.
Okay. All right. Okay, Amelia. So procedure is on the 21st at the main KU hospital. You're going to get a call from us the day before in the afternoon between 2 and 4:30, letting you know what time surgery is going to be and what time you need to be checked in at the hospital. Okay? If you miss our phone call, we're going to leave that on your voicemail.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Visitor policy at the hospital right now. One person can come with you. They are able to wait in the waiting room until your surgery is complete and you get moved to your room. Once you're in your room, then your visitor can come to your room with you.
Okay.
Okay, so they're just not allowing anybody in the pre-op and post-op areas yet.
Okay.
They want you to take a shower before surgery with an antibacterial soap. And that's just like some Dial antibacterial soap that you can get at any store. So
should I do that the morning of or the night before?
It's whichever you prefer.
Okay.
It's however you want to take that shower. Just don't put anything on your skin after that shower. So they don't want even like deodorant, no lotions, no creams.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a heavy user of that stuff anyways, so.
Okay. You can brush your teeth the morning of surgery. They just want you to stop eating at 11 p.m. the night before.
Okay.
Water's okay for you to continue drinking up until 2 hours before you have to check in at the hospital. Okay, so if we call you and say your surgery's at noon, you're going to have to be checked in by 10 a.m. You'd be able to drink water until 8 a.m.
Wow. You know how that's going to affect me having to have, I don't know, I kind of feel like a morning surgery at like 8 a.m. would be best, but it's kind of like, yeah. It'd be funny if it's like, it's at noon. I'd be like, I'm not going to be able to sleep, and all morning I'm just going to be sitting there going,
Yeah.
I got to be there in 2 hours. This is worse than trying to make a flight, you know?
Right. I'll tell you that right now, Dr. Gray is requesting your procedure to start at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Typically, if a doctor requests a certain time, they get it, but we will still call you the day before and just
in case, yeah. So, and then
so
what is usually check-in's usually what, like 2.5 hours before that?
It's 2 hours before, so we'll call you and tell you to check in at 8 for a 10 o'clock surgery. So you can drink water until 6 a.m. that day.
Okay.
We talked about the visitor policy. We talked about...
you did say... Okay, so you did say that the person can wait for me, and then once I'm in the recovery room, they can come in. Now because if I'm in the hospital for 3 to 5 days, what's the visitor policy ongoing? Like, this person obviously can leave, right? Or...
Yes.
Okay, does it have to be the same person, or can I have different people on different days, or...
Different people on different days. It's one person per 24 hours.
Okay, so if this person decides to stay the morning of, they see me after, then I couldn't, like, swap out the person until the next morning and have another person.
Correct.
That's an interesting policy, because I don't know. I don't know why I feel like... Yeah.
Well, the reason they said it that way is because if we just say one visitor at a time, then we're going to have 30 people swapping out to be just that one person in there at a time, but 30 people in one day. So they're trying to reduce the traffic, reduce the flow.
I could understand that, and I mean it's kind of a bummer because it's like some of the biggest people, like the one person that's a single person I would want to come see me, she's going to be out of town. And then I have another person who wants to come see me, but it's two of them, you know, they would come together. They're like, even though they're just friends, they're glued together and they love me, you know? So it's like they would definitely want to see me both at the same time, because not to mention one of them doesn't drive. So it'd be kind of awkward it'd be kind of like, well, okay, I guess one of you guys can come see me, which the one that would be the one who can't drive. Because she's
Maybe
the one that
FaceTime you.
Yeah, I am planning to do more streaming stuff with a lot of my friends, but it is kind of one of those things where it's like, man, now I got to pick favorites. Really, that's what you're making me do, is pick favorites. Who's my favorites?
Yeah. Well, they can always come and see you when you get home too.
True.
So there's always that. But yeah, that's the policy there on the visitor. It's going to have the parking garage you're going to want to park in. It has
Okay.
I just sent
she told me that I need to get COVID testing 48 hours in advance, and she said you were going to deal with that.
No, that is Dr. Gray's nurses are the ones.
Which she sat there and told me, when she calls you from anesthesia, she's going to go over you need to get your COVID testing. I'm like, I guess nobody knows who's doing what now.
Well, like the very first week that they rolled out that plan, we were the ones doing it.
Oh, that's why.
That then the chief physician over all of this, he said, no, that needs to be on the surgeon. That's their responsibility, not ours.
Oh my gosh.
All we're really doing is seeing, are you safe for anesthesia? Really, that's what we're doing. You know, so anything else is really not in our realm. So you might just send a message back to Dr. Gray's office and let them know that you need to get that COVID test set up. About the COVID test.
Can you go over with me real quick, like, what am I to expect when I check in? So, because I was told there was a bunch of, like, there was a bunch of things that had to happen prior. Like they're basically getting, I don't know, what was that? Like there's like medications I got to take prior to surgery and stuff like that.
I would not know.
Okay. So it's like checking in, filling out paperwork.
Checking in, yeah. You're going to walk in through the front door of the hospital admissions department's on your left-hand side. You're just going to go straight over to admissions. You're going to get checked in, give them your name, give them your driver's license. I'm here for my surgery. They'll get you checked in, and then they'll put a little wristband on you, and then they'll get you sent up to the second floor to the surgery waiting area. You'll walk in there. There's a person there that works in there. Just give them your name and say, I'm here for my surgery. And then they'll have a nurse come out and get you and take you back in and get you prepped and ready to go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they'll get your IV started. They'll go over, questions. What medications have you had today? Blah, blah, blah. The anesthesiologist will come in and meet you. We'll go over what their plan is. You'll sign consent forms. The doctors will come in and meet with you before surgery. And then once everything's ready to go, they'll come in and give you a little sedative through your IV to get you nice and relaxed. You won't even remember being wheeled into the OR.
That's what I'm told.
Then you'll just wake up in recovery and
wow. It's
a
just a scary thought. It's just now, have you ever had anybody wake up from anesthesia in a panic?
Oh yeah. There's people that
are you guys
crying, or my husband came out of it swinging,
and I take it, if somebody was to wake up from anesthesia in like a panic, you guys have a way of dealing with that, I take it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they'll just give you a little something in your IV and
be like, calm down.
Once you come out, and they just talk to you. I mean, they're really good about being right there and just saying, hey, you're out of surgery, you're doing great, I'm your nurse, yada yada. So they do a really good job of just kind of talking you through it, getting your mind reoriented there.
Okay.
And it really does not take long. You're just tired, it's just like you're really just tired and trying to wake up from the best nap you've ever had in your life.
I've heard it feels that way.
Yeah. They've done a lot of these surgeries. I've called and talked to a lot of trans people, and I would not work.
So you're also saying that I'm not unusual with my nervousness.
No.
I'm being exactly what would be to expect from somebody like this.
Well, and not even the surgery you're going through, just a lot of people just going through any surgery. It's everybody's nervous, and that's you're supposed to be. That's a normal response.
I just wish I really wish there could just be that moment, like, drive into the hospital and be like, here, I have a medication in my hand I can take now and it will settle me down. Like, almost like Adderall, here, let me take this, and then I'm just like mellow. I'm like walking in just like, get me in there, get me started, like no emotions.
If you're really anxious when you come in for pre-op, just let the nurse know that you're really having some extreme anxiety and stuff, and they can probably help give you something in pre-op.
So that pretty much, for the most part, wraps up this video. I ended up getting a hold of her. Immediately after that, I had to go into a therapy appointment, and then when I got out of my therapy, I started making my phone calls to get my COVID testing. So I'm going to go ahead and just completely finish up this video with myself from on the 7th, closing this video and telling you all the adventures of having that done. So I want to, at least for now, thank everybody for watching. This has probably turned into a 45-minute to an hour video if for whatever reason. I do want to quickly just fill in to say that my emotions have been running very high, and I am glad that I am on a different anxiety medication. It has definitely been helping a lot. As I've explained it, it seems like as my surgery has drawn closer, I have gone from these like freaks of anxiety to happiness, and anxiety, they just keep getting closer together. But right now, I actually have been feeling pretty good the last couple days. 4 days to go. So this is going to be a very interesting journey. So I will see you all in the future. I will probably be doing one more video before surgery. Other than that, the next videos to come after this are going to be me post-op. Or, I don't know, you might see something. Anyways.
At the University of Kansas Health System, our top priority is keeping our patients, visitors, and staff safe. We treat patients with severe respiratory illnesses every day. We have training, tools, and techniques in place to care for patients.
Remember, the best protection is prevention. Wash your hands thoroughly. Cover your sneeze and cough. Disinfect often, and stay home when you're sick.
To learn more, visit kansashealthsystem.com/update.
Boy, am I... Right now I'm probably feeling more nervous than excited. And it doesn't help that I have to be calling COVID to get COVID tested. And it's taking forever. I got like 5 minutes left until if they need to answer. I need to answer or I need to just go inside. Didn't I wait like almost 20? Okay, someone remind me. I think back when I did my first video of calling in to even get my consults for this surgery that's happening in 2 weeks. I remember almost waiting on the phone like 20 to 30 minutes, which I thought was definitely very unusual. I guess that's just... I definitely haven't fixed the waiting issue. Of course, I haven't really had to call them for scheduling like this in a while. And what is up with this choice of music? This isn't elevator music, this is like... Okay. That music took a turn. I went from like... mysterious to now like... old-timey. I really have to use the bathroom. Can you answer?
For the latest on the novel coronavirus called COVID-19, contact your local health department. If you think you have symptoms or worry throat, call your doctor's office before you go to the emergency department.
At the University of Kansas Health System, our top priority is keeping
I give up. I give up. I give up.
we treat patients with respiratory illnesses every day.
Oh yeah. This works. I cannot believe... Why have we not thought of stuff like this before? Face masks are so versatile! Keeps your face warm, and also works as a blindfold. I love this idea. I think face masks are amazing now, even though I still hate them. These things are so stupid. I wish this thing was over. Why does this pandemic have to be a problem? That makes my experience even more unique, because I gotta deal with this pandemic on top of going in for such a big surgery. Are they on lunch, maybe? I bet you they're on lunch. I bet you they're on lunch, which is stupid, because it is that time. So I'm gonna end this call here. I'm gonna go inside. I can use the bathroom so bad, and then I got my therapy, and then we're gonna come out and start calling them again on my drive home. So I will see you in what's gonna feel like a flash, but it's actually only gonna take a few seconds. There goes that scritchiness again. No aiming with this one. No, it's okay. Okay. Ooh, it's more like ice cream. And I'm drinking from the tray. Okay, so I finally got on the phone with them for the COVID testing. And apparently they told me that I brought up the wait. I waited like 20 minutes on the phone. And ultimately, they did actually tell me that they had somebody yesterday who ended up waiting 2 hours on the phone. So 20 minutes is not bad. However, right as I was waiting on the phone, the person, I got a call from somewhere else that I was expecting to get a call from. And I picked it up and was maybe on the phone for 2 minutes. And then as soon as I hung up and switched over, they apparently answered and then hung up the phone because I wasn't there. So I had to call again and wait another 20 minutes for them to pick up. So that's the story of my life. Now I do want to quickly cover though, I did think it was really cool. Just quickly what happened, turns out the person who answered the phone had my middle name and she had a daughter with my first name. So really kind of cool there. She was like, oh yeah, she's like, this is really cool. You have both of our names. I'm like, oh yes, that's awesome. So anyways, I went into Walgreens. I was calling on the phone. I went ahead and I also got myself lunch. I know I'm bad. I'm supposed to be watching my calories still. I went into Walgreens and I went ahead and did a quick shopping because I was planning to go in there. I've been out of allergy medication. I spent all this morning doing photography for Habitat, and I just decided, I was like, I'm out of allergy medication, I should probably take some more, because like as soon as I left this morning, I kind of felt like my lower lungs hurt, but I think it because I had been kind of, I can't describe it. It was not COVID symptoms. It was just the feel of my I know what my allergies feel like, so I knew it was like allergy effects. But I decided to go in there and get some allergy medication. I was like, well, I need to go ahead and just grab some hand sanitizer, just so I can be prepared. But while I was walking around, because I hated to be going checkout while I was on the phone, I went ahead and on top of like grabbing a bottle of hand sanitizer, which I have so much of this stuff at home, but this is just a bottle I'm thinking just keep it in the car or something like that, because it does not hurt to, you know, I'm not really a huge fan of using hand sanitizer, but being that I'm going into such an important surgery event, this stuff smells like gasoline. That was very not smart of me. Actually, this is not normal hand sanitizer. Who makes this? Made in Mexico by Genma Lab. Okay, I'm going to assume that this is probably made, because I've never heard of this brand or anything like that. This is probably made by like a newer factory or something like that. Like the smell does not smell like normal hand sanitizer. It smells like because I have smelled like the tequila and the whiskey hand sanitizers. That's something similar. So anyways, I ended up going ahead and buying the cheap Walmart brand women's probiotic, specifically the women's, because it is something that helped me build up. It would definitely become important after surgery. Let's hope that's not good. I literally just now looked down and saw why. We're not going to talk about that. I'll go look it up. Anyways, they were saying stuff about vitamins and stuff like that. Anyways, we'll just see. We'll just have to see how this works out. So anyways, I just got a probiotic. And then of course I got the hand sanitizer. Then I got, now the allergy pills I know are fine, because they actually told me for the next 2 weeks they actually want me to stay off of ibuprofen, because apparently ibuprofen can act as a blood thinner. which is kind of strange that they're going to put me on a blood thinner after surgery, but they don't want me on it before surgery. So anyways, just very simple, like how it's missing 2 pills in the center. Just some very simple allergy medication, hopefully. And I also got the extra strength because a lot of times, because she told me, we want you to take Tylenol, acetaminophen for headaches instead of ibuprofen. And my big thing is the fact that a lot of my headaches come from allergies. I never used to have this bad allergies. My allergies are just now naturally this bad. So, I figured I definitely wanted, wow, this is like opening a condom. Can I get, okay, there we go. So anyways, there's some allergy medication. What's the other thing I got? Okay. And the other thing I did is I went ahead and I bought 2 more tubes of water-based gel. I went with the Astroglide. KY jelly apparently is really good too. I did get because it seems like Astroglide or KY. But anyways, this stuff was not bad. It was also buy one, get one 50% off. So literally for about 11 or 12 bucks, I got these 2 bottles, and they were bigger than the KY bottles. The KY bottles only came in like 2-ounce bottles. Well, this is 4 ounces. So just something to add to that. So I don't know. We'll see if I like the Astroglide over the KY, because I also did recently find out that they don't want me using a petroleum based, but I'm sure I will, like my friend Christine said, I will probably surely use it at some point. So anyways, not a whole lot happened. It was a long conversation. We got along talking. She did assure me, she said she did tell me, she said out of all the pre-operative patients that come through, we probably have had 1 out of every several dozen who get tested for pre-op who generally come back negative for, but of course that's probably because people who are going into pre-op are not going to get tested because they're suspicious, probably because they're required. So anyways, let's hope that keeps up with it. So anyways, all that together was another $40 to add to my collection of surgical costs. That's joy to the world. So today's been a filling day. I am home now, and it is time, because I'm sure this is gonna be a crazy day. I don't even know. We got so much information to share. So anyways, talk to you later.